Now everybody, I was not expecting to be making a video today, but we did have somewhat of a significant update. So we are looking at an enhanced risk of severe weather through portions of Minnesota into Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois. We do have this other slight risk area around that portion into more portions of Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, but that is looking like it could be somewhat of a significant style event. You can see not really tornado driven. We do have that 5% being highlighted through this portion. This main area is where we're looking at for that tornado threat, where we are seeing that big MCS line, which I'll get into in a moment. But this tornado threat is not limited to there. These tornadoes could span throughout this whole area. So if you're being highlighted by somewhere through the black, just be on guard. Be weather aware tonight, 2% to 5%, so not really highlighting a strong tornado, but, tornadoes definitely will be possible. 30% though, 30% significant. Once again, if you're surrounded by the black, you're expected to be seeing some sort of wind event excess of 70, 80, possibly even 90-mile-an-hour winds with that. And then if we move over to hail, then you can see that hail through there. But this is mainly going to be a wind-driven event. You can see that significant hail parameter for the early part of the storms, though, through this 15%. But this whole area under the slight and the enhanced will have that possibility to see some sort of big hail event within 1.5, 2 inches in diameter and higher. Now for today, scattered severe thunderstorms are possible over parts of the upper Midwest. A corridor of potentially widespread destructive wind gusts, so that is winds in excess of 80 miles an hour being that destructive tag, could develop over parts of Minnesota into Wisconsin. And you can pause to read the hypnosis here if you would like. I will slowly scroll through it so you can actually read it. One thing I would like to highlight from this, though, is that we do have CAPE levels of about 4,500, which is extremely high for that. But one thing that I do want to highlight, initial storms will be supercellular. Now, what that means is that you will have these kind of these discrete storms through the region, and what that will do is that will have that not only that very large hail potential as these storms initially start off. If we kind of scroll up, tornado and hail through this region for the most part, where those storms are initially starting off supercellular, but you will have that damaging wind threat. And then that tornado threat there as well before this does move into more of a MCS wind event as you start getting into the portions of the Wisconsin area. Now, one thing that I do want to highlight is that we also have a severe risk through portions of the North Carolina area right through here. When we do have these special weather statements, these severe thunderstorm warnings happening as of now, but as really for the most part, this is going to remain a very low threat. You can see the probabilities being less than 5% for tornadoes, 20% for hail, but that 50% for that wind threat, where we are highlighting these 60-mile-an-hour threats with these severe thunderstorm risks. While that being the case, though, I do want to come back up here to our actual risk that we're highlighting today. Now, one thing that is safe to say is that there is some areas of convection through here. That is not expected to be your severe storms. That is just some rain here and there. That can limit the severe potential in some of these areas, but notice how as we move down here into the enhanced risk, that there is barely any convection with that. Now, as we're looking at these severe storms, you can see the line of storms expects to start about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 7 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time through North Dakota and Minnesota, northern Minnesota. This will, you can see, kind of remain somewhat supercellular, and that can be that tornado threat. Now, you can see right through here, the kind of those discrete storms that the HRRR is picking up. But we do have areas down here towards the enhanced risk, and if these can remain strong enough and intense enough, this can and will produce somewhat of an intense tornado. A strong to intense tornado, not being highlighted by the National Weather Service, but what we're seeing from these models, that there's such a volatile environment that is possible. These storms up north fairly will die off pretty quickly by 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but these storms down here is going to be that main concern, and that is going to continue to move down the line will form into more of a MCS event, and while that tornado potential is still possible, this is going to be that more of that damaging, destructive wind threat by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That will move over through the Great Lakes region, and then by 6, 7, 8, that will continue on through portions of Milwaukee, and then that will get into a day 2 threat with that, where overall heavy rain, but you know, that marginal risk is still in effect through this area for that wind potential and that hail potential. So if you're in any of the areas today or tomorrow, make sure you're being weather aware, heed the polygons, make sure you're staying safe. This is kind of just an update video. I normally don't do these, but I felt like today was needed. So make sure to follow Twitter in the description for more live updates. I'll go live on this if I need to. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.